For today's project, I headed down to my local hardware store and I grabbed one of these solar lights. First thing I got to do though is I went ahead and bought a pre-made fence post. And this is going to be great. It's already primed, but I do need to add some paint. It's best to get some high quality outdoor paint. I'm going to paint this one white. The next step was to get my house numbers. I wanted to lay those out about the middle of the post. When I put them in, I do want to pre-drill. It does come with nails, but I don't want to pound on it and damage the number. So I'm going to go ahead and pre-drill and they'll go in pretty easy. Once I get the first number on, I'm going to go up from there and do my middle number and my last number. Once I get those installed and they're looking good, then I headed on down to Dollar Tree and I grab one of these stands right here. All I need though on this stand is the bottom part. I need that U shape. Once I put this on it a couple of times, it clips right off. Look at that. Back and forth and it'll come right off. Now back to that solar light. I don't need the bottom portion. I can get rid of that. And then I'm going to drill a hole in the bottom. The reason is I want to drill a hole just big enough for the metal stand to go through. Once I get that all the way through, then I'm going to go ahead and take it and put it on there and it should pop right into place. And it's also cool because it can rotate on there and it holds it up pretty nice. Now it's time to attach it to the post. This is pretty simple. I'm just going to use some electrical clips that go on there. I just need 2. You can put 3 if you want. They screw in really nice. Once I got that, it rotates up and it's ready for the light. I noticed that the stand is going to go too far into the pot that I bought. So what I want to do is nail this little fence picket on just to give it a little bit of an extra oomph on the bottom. The next step is to add some concrete. As you can see, I always put water in the bottom so it doesn't stick, and then I put the concrete in and then put some more water on top. You can hand mix it if you want, but I went ahead and used a paddle, put it on my drill, and kept mixing. Again, just add a little bit of water as you need. Don't put too much water in. And you want to get to a consistency where the post can go inside the pot. Now, I'm going to slip it on down, push it all the way to the bottom, and that's okay if it doesn't cover everything because we have a solution in the end. But we need to hold this up while the concrete is drying overnight. I just took 2 boards, put them right across the top with some clamps. Make sure it's straight and level and it holds up. The next day after the concrete dries, I can take those off and it's really strong. Look at this. It holds pretty nice and it's not going to go anywhere. And it's got a good strong base. I'm going to put some drain holes in the bottom. Go ahead and put it where I want next to my house. And then I'm going to add some potting soil. Good quality potting soil. Don't skimp on that because when we plant, we want to make sure it's good. And make sure we don't have any unwanted guests hanging around. I'm going to go ahead and plant some flowers in there and make it look really nice. Once I get all these planted, I want to make sure that I add some water because they're starters, get a good root system going, and then it's time to put on that solar light. Again, we're going to take that stand, put it on there, and look at this. This thing looks absolutely amazing. I love it with the house numbers on there and everything. And when night comes, watch this. It's absolutely going to glow and give a nice special effect. I love it. Charges during the day and it glows up at night. I hope this inspired you to go ahead and build your own solar-powered house planter numbers.
Head to your local dollar store and pick up 3 splash guards with handles from the kitchen section. Once you're home, spray paint them in a fun fall color. I went with coral. It's a fresh twist on the classic pumpkin orange. Lay 2 of the splash guards flat with the handles facing down. Place the 3rd splash guard on the top with the handle facing up. Next, secure the pieces with floral wire. Thread the wire through the mesh and around the handles on the bottom 2 splash guards. Repeat on the other side and then wire the top handle in place. Trim any extra wire with sharp scissors. Now let's dress things up a bit. Tie some jute twine to the bottom of the top handle, then wrap it around the handle until it's completely covered. Push the twine snugly together as you wrap and finish with a dab of hot glue to hold the end piece in place. For some greenery, wire a eucalyptus stem or any faux greenery you love to the top handle. Add in some faux flowers, arranging them however you like. I went with an asymmetrical look. To hide any wires, hot glue individual leaves right over the spots that show. Want to add some extra charm? Drill a small hole in the top of a few mini wood pieces. I like using 3. Odd numbers look best. Thread them with jute twine and tie them onto the handle at varying hang lengths. Then, for an added touch, hot glue a little faux white pumpkin among the greenery toward the top for a sweet finishing touch. Fold the bottom splash guard handles backward so your pumpkin can stand tall with its anchors in place. You might have to push a little bit and hold it in place, but it shouldn't break and it will hold that pumpkin standing tall. And there you have it, a budget-friendly, creative pumpkin you can display anywhere you want a pop of festive fall style in your home.
For this project, you're going to need some stovetop burners. Start by placing your burners upside down onto some cardboard boxes. Spray paint the borders with orange spray paint. While the paint's drying, glue your boards together. Once the burners are dry, place them on top of your wood boards and then hot glue them into place to secure them. Grab your vine and wrap it around the wood boards in between and around the burners. Grab some ribbon, cut it off, and make a bow. Hot glue the ribbon into place above each of the burner pans. Cut out a pumpkin face and place it onto the burners. Use some glue and glue the faces into place. Your pumpkin display is ready. I place mine in a little flower pot and by my front door.
The next time you're at the thrift store, look for candlesticks and finials, anything that has joints that screw together but also can be unscrewed. Once you get home, take apart your pieces so you know how it is assembled. This finial screws together with a metal rod through the center. I found some small pumpkins that, when stacked, are about the same size as the middle piece of the finial, but I want to decorate the pumpkins first. Using a paper napkin, first separate the napkin so you have only the top layer. Using some Mod Podge decoupage glue, brush the top half of the pumpkin and cover it with a paper napkin. With your finger, press the paper napkin into the grooves of the pumpkin. You can also fold and pleat the napkin so it fits the round shape of the pumpkin. Flip the pumpkin over and apply the decoupage glue to the bottom half of the pumpkin. Cover the rest of the pumpkin with a paper napkin, cutting, pleating, and folding as needed to cover it. Once covered, give the entire pumpkin an additional coat of decoupage glue. Let your newly decorated pumpkins dry completely. Once dry, create a pilot hole through the top of the pumpkin with a large needle or bamboo stick. Then take the original finial metal rod and push it through the top of the pumpkin and out the bottom of the pumpkin. This takes a little bit of gentle pressure as you push it through the pumpkin. Do the same with any other pumpkins you're using. With all of your pumpkins skewered onto the rod, start to assemble the finial. Your finial or candlestick now has a fun and colorful fall pumpkin twist. Candlesticks come in all shapes and sizes. The candlestick easily unscrewed so I could remove the hurricane and exchange it for a faux pumpkin. This pumpkin needs some decorating too. Remove the pumpkin stem and apply a thin layer of metal leaf adhesive onto a small patch on the pumpkin. Take a small sheet of gold leaf and lay it over the top of the adhesive. Metal leaf is very, very thin and will tear easily. Just know it will tear. This is not a problem. The sheets do not have to be evenly added to the pumpkin. Then, take a cotton cloth, or even better, a cotton glove, and gently buff the outside of the pumpkin. This particular candlestick did not have a metal rod in the center. Instead, all of the pieces were screwed together. So it was easy to glue the pumpkin to the bottom piece, and then glue the top of the candlestick to the top of the pumpkin. However they are constructed, candlesticks and finials are a great, fun way to add a little pumpkin fun into your home decor.
We're going to take 2 of these coconut fiber liners, and we want to overlap them a little bit. We want these to lay flat for our project, so I'm actually going to trim a little bit of one of them, and then I'm going to cut this little section out. These coconut fiber liners are really easy to cut, so you don't need to worry about having anything special. Just use a pair of scissors. And you can see once that section is cut out, these fit nicely together, and they're going to be much better for our project. Now, to hold them together, I'm going to take some of my hot glue here, and I'm actually going to do this one, And I'm just gonna line this cut part with some hot glue. And all I'm gonna do is fit these together, and that'll hold together nicely. So we're gonna take our third coconut liner and we want to place it just a little bit down from the other two, and we're gonna hold that one in place with some hot glue as well. I'm gonna add a little bit of hot glue to the sides here. And then I'm gonna stick this one on top of my other two. Again, I wanna place it just down a little bit so that it creates this beautiful jack-o'-lantern pumpkin kind of look here. So I'm gonna take a length of my jute twine, and what I wanna do is outline my pumpkin pieces. I'm gonna start by taking my hot glue again, and I'm going to go along the edges, and then I'm gonna stick this jute twine along the edge of my circles here. So I'm gonna go all the way around. And this is some fairly thick jute twine. It's about probably 4 millimeters. And I'm just gonna stick it around the edge of my pumpkin. And there we go. So that's all you need to do to add the jute twine to your pumpkin. The next thing I'm gonna do is I want to paint my pumpkin. I want to give it a little bit more of a pretty kind of whimsical look to it. So I'm going to take some cream colored paint here, and this was pretty thick paint, so I've actually watered it down a little just with some water. And now I'm going to take my regular paintbrush and I want to paint this whole surface, and this coconut fiber is going to leave some really nice depth into this pumpkin. You can see already with the paint how pretty those coconut fibers are once they're painted. So I'm going to go around and paint my whole pumpkin, the jute twine and all. I'm going to go right over everything. And I also want to make sure to get all the edges of my pumpkin as well, because those will be seen when I put this up in my house. So I want to make sure I get all of that as well. I raided my stash of lace and vintage lace, and I found this really pretty one, and I'm going to use this to outline all of my little lines here. Again, I'm just going to take my hot glue gun and I want to start putting glue on the inside of that jute twine. And what I'm going to do is take this pretty loopy lace here, and I'm just going to start sticking that around. This is going to add some really pretty texture to my pumpkin. I'm just going to keep working around and adding this on. You could use any type of lace you want. You could add pom-poms. This would be so cute with pom-poms as well. There we go. We've got our circles all outlined with this pretty loop lace. And now I'm going to add my pumpkin stem. I'm going to take one of these old garden stakes, and I'm just going to glue it underneath, underneath like this, so that I have a stem coming out. And I'm just going to attach this with my hot glue. I have again raided my lace bin, and I have some of this pretty vintage lace here, and I've got two different kinds. So I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to take a smaller one here, and I'm going to use both to add a little bow to the top of my pumpkin. And I just want to add a pretty kind of loose bow to the top here. Here's our whimsical pumpkin finished and all ready for fall.